Welcome to the chapter of economic cost estimation. Every single business house in today's world needs to estimate the future costs. The future costs needs to be calculated as in present time the organization wants to understand whether any kind of future decision will be proved profitable to them or not. In gaining that particular future cost, the organizations needs to rely on certain kind of estimates, and those estimates gives the organization the future costs, the benefits of that particular decision that needs to be taken. Estimates can generally be rough estimates. You can talk about certain kind of semi detailed estimates, and there can be a certain kind of detailed estimates. The most important characteristic of a cost estimation method or any kind of cost estimation is that the errors practically which are there in cost estimation are basically non-symmetrical, as we tend to underestimate the cost rather than overestimate it. Most importantly, during estimates, certain kind of resource availability and certain kind of person who is doing the estimate, these kind of reliability is also very important. If we generally look at the quality of a cost estimation model, it generally, the model probability of being successful increases if the resources allocated to the developing of that particular model are more authentic. The benefits expected from improving a cost estimate should generally be greater than the cost of, should I say, which the organization is trying to incur in that particular model. So basically, in short, cost estimation, as we see, is generally an analysis of cost which requires future prediction. Most importantly, the basic need of cost estimation is to generate correct kind of future cost, and most importantly, it helps to correct or to obtain certain correct decisions which are incurred in the project. The first method of cost estimation is one of the most simple and easiest method, that is per unit method. In per unit method, basically the cost estimation is done for one single unit, which generally is multiplied by the number of unit produced or the number of units generated by the organization to obtain the total projected cost of that particular estimation. This is the most simple and effective technique in cost estimation model. If we look at an example, an easy example, if you can see here, an engineering college with a student strength of 400 wants to provide hostel facility to each student. Per student cost of accommodation is basically 3000 rupees, beg your pardon, 3000 rupees per month for the college. To find out the total annual cost, what we need to do, we need to just transfer that 3000 rupees per month figure into per annum figure by multiplying 12 months into it. And if we want to get the total cost estimation of the college per year for that 400 students, we need to multiply that 36,000 figure with the 400 students to get the exact figure of the cost which needs to be incurred by the college or the organization. This is a basic example of per unit technique. Coming back to the cost index method of cost estimation, it is a certain kind of technique where historical data of cost are taken into account for calculating calculating future cost. Cost index basically does what? It takes into account the historical changes of cost and predicts the particular cost, that same particular cost in future. Cost index data are practically available from various kind of sources. If we suppose take a time, say time A to be the point in the past and time B to be at current time, and if we take index value of time A and index value of time B to calculate that particular cost index method, is the cost of time B will generally be calculated by dividing the index value of time B with index value of time A and multiplying the entire figure with the cost of time A. This will give us the future cost depending on the cost of the past. This is how cost index technique is practically calculated. If we come back to take a mathematical example of the cost index method, we will see that here the example has been given as an organization wants to estimate the annual labor and material cost for an upcoming project. Here, as I said, the cost index value are available from various kind of sources. So under labor, the labor cost index value was 120 10 years ago and now 180, whereas annual labor cost 10 years ago was rupees 6 lakh. Coming back to the material cost index was 500 2 years ago and now 750, whereas annual material cost was rupees 12 lakh 2 years ago. So here all the figures of the past are given to us. We need just to calculate the present cost of this particular project, where they need to find out the present labor and the material cost. So coming back to the calculation part, the present annual material cost, if we kind of calculate index value of time B divided by index value of time A into the cost of time A. So if we do that, we will get the present value of the annual material, whereas we find 180 divided by 120 into 6 lakh gives us the figure of 9 lakh, which is the present value. Very similarly, 750 is the current material cost index value, whereas 500 was the previous cost index value. Multiplying it by the previous annual material cost of 12 lakh, we get the figure 18 lakh. So 9 lakh and 18 lakh are the present value of the under cost index technique, which are calculated from the values of the past. Coming back to power sizing technique of cost estimation model, this particular model is basically known to us as an exponential model, as it involves the economies of scale. Economies, and these economies of scale, I'll come back to it later on, basically are taken into aspect while calculating the power sizing model. If we look at the formula here, cost at time B is equals to cost at time A into size of time B divided by size of time A. This entirely to the root of x. If we talk about size here, it is basically a general sense of term. In a specific case, this may represent an area of unit, volume, it can be taken as generating capacity. So these are also taken into account. Now let us talk about that particular x. The x is practically known as the power sizing exponent. If the value of x is less than 1, there is economy of scale. Economy of scale basically means that the cost of the plant increases less than the proportionate increase in its size. Suppose let me give you an example that if I want to, or any organization wants to build a 6-storied building, the cost incurred in building that 6-storied building will be, if it is under that particular concept of economies of scale, will be less than the double cost incurred of building a 3-storied building. So this is what we mean by economies of scale. If that particular value of x is greater than 1, that means that is diseconomies of scale, where it means the size, if the size of the plant or the organization is increasing, its cost is increasing more than the proportionate rate. And if it is equals to 1, that means that is neither economies or diseconomies. This is what we mean by power sizing technique. Coming back to the example of power sizing model, here we can see the organization has hired a 250 square meter of office and wants to install AC over there. The company had paid rupees 50,000 for 100 square meter office to install AC previously. AC with the similar capacity what they are wanting to install in a 250 meter square office right now has a power sizing exponent of 0.55, which is lesser than 1. So it basically indicates economies of scale. And 5 years ago the AC index was practically 1306, which is 1487. Now if we come back to the solution, for the first part we have to just go through that particular cost indexing technique. Cost indexing technique, why am I talking about cost indexing technique? Because this particular method of power sizing model has a combination of this power sizing as well as cost indexing technique. In the first part, if we go back, we are using the power sizing model formula, where to find out the present area capacity of AC, that is 250 meter square, we are taking 250 divided by 100 to the power that particular power sizing exponent of 0.55, multiplying it by the value which they had paid, or the organization had paid earlier to install AC in a 100 square meter office, that is 50,000. So what is this cost of 250 meter square of AC right now? That means this is the cost which the organization would had incurred if they would had previously installed AC in a 250 meter square office rather than in a 100 square meter office. The cost is practically equivalent to 82,800. Now this value needs to be turned into today's value. When we are turning that value into today's value, we need to take into consideration the cost indexing method. So by cost indexing method, we know that presently for AC 250 meter square area, the cost that needs to be incurred can be generated by calculating the AC index of present, which is 1487, divided by the AC index of previous, which is 1306, multiplying it by the previous cost which the organization would had incurred for a 250 meter square office, that is 82,800. Multiplying it, we get the figure of 94,300. Now this is that particular cost which has changed from 82,800 to 94,300. This is the change of cost due to the change of time. So this is a very good example how an organization generally calculates or estimates through power sizing model. Coming back to the next model, which is learning curve model. Here under this particular model of cost estimation, it assumes that the efficiency of a particular worker increases with the repetition of the task which has been performed by him. That particular worker, it is assumed that acquires additional skills and develop certain kind of expertise to do that same kind of job in a shorter period of time. In other words, the worker do make use of this acquired new skill. Basically, learning curve method is the relationship between the task performances and the task repetitions. Before going further, we have to understand one particular thing here, that is the learning curve rate. The learning curve rate generally means that it is telling us about the proportion or percentage of time of time required by the worker to complete the next job as compared to the initial job. That means if we take a certain example, that a worker having a 90% learning curve rate and a worker having 70% learning curve rate. That means 70% learning curve rate worker is far more efficient than the 90% learning curve rate worker, which means the time taken for completing a job for 70% learning curve rate worker will be much lesser than that of the time taken of the 90% learning curve rate worker. The basic formula used in learning curve method is the time taken for the nth repetition will be equals to the time taken for the first unit into n to the power b, where basically b means the log of learning curve rate expressed in decimal. That means suppose we are taking into aspect 70% learning curve rate, that means it will be log 0.7 divided by log 2. This is the basic formula of learning curve method. Taking a mathematical example of the learning curve method, assuming if the learning curve rate is at 70%, the operator's time for the completion of first unit is 65 seconds. So, what will be the time taken for the 50th unit? As we have seen, the formula for learning curve method is the time taken for nth repetition. In this case, this is practically the 50th repetition, right? And time taken for the first unit will be 65 seconds, where n will be 50 as it is the 50th repetition, and b or the constant can be calculated by taking the learning curve rate at 0.7 divided by 0.2. We are getting a figure of negative 0.5145. If we put that into that particular equation, the new time taken will be 8.68 seconds. So see, initially when the worker started working, it took 65 seconds to complete that particular work. But on the 50th repetition, when the worker has gained the additional skill set by repeating the same kind of task, the time taken by that particular worker has reduced subsequently to only 8 seconds, which is a massive improvement in that particular worker rate. So here comes in this learning curve method practically tells us the importance of specialization, as it is very much important for an organization to hire certain kind of people who can do their job day in day out as to achieve the maximum result out of them. When the maximum result will be achieved by the organization, then the effectiveness and the efficiency of the organization, and thus at the end of time the profit will subsequently increase for the organization.